Okay guys, so hello and welcome to another video of mine. Today I will be showing you guys my Fortnite settings that got me to Champion League or Champion Division, whatever you want to call it. So before we get into the Fortnite settings that I use, I just want to tell you guys that I now have a upload schedule which is every other week on Fridays. So yeah, new videos on Fridays every other week. So make sure to subscribe for that. And yeah, let's get right into it. So let's get into the video settings first. I use full screen. If they are stretched back to the game, I will be using 1079 by 1080 as my resolution, but for now I'm not using native as it says here. I'm using a resolution that is 1920 by 800, which basically just stretches the screen out, gives you more FOV as well, like the old stretch, but it doesn't give you any vertical FOV. So yeah. My 3D resolution is obviously the maximum you can have, and here you see the resolution that I'm using. So yeah, my view distance is on near, my shadows are off, anti-aliasing is on medium because I just think that smoother edges are really nice for the game, which is exactly what anti-aliasing does, because without it I just think the game looks really bad, just too bad. Then for the textures, I have those on low, the effects on low, and post-processing. Then for the textures, I have that on low, I have the effects on low, and I have Okay, for the textures, I have those on low, effects as well, and post-processing is also on low. And I have these settings to get the best performance out of my PC. I also have VSync off, I have motion blur off, and I have show FPS on. Now moving on to my regions and like sensitivity and stuff. Obviously I have my language on English, I have my matchmaking region or server region or whatever on Europe, obviously. And then my mouse sensitivity, X is actually higher than my Y, so they're different, but that's just because I'm used to stretched, and then I needed my X sensitivity, which is like the sensitivity when I move it like this, horizontally. I needed that to be higher because the screen was obviously more stretched out, and my sensitivity felt lower if I had it the same, dragging it horizontally. So yeah, I have it on 0.110 or whatever, and then I have it for my Y sensitivity on just 100. So yeah, obviously I don't play controller, so I've just put these down to the lowest just so it's easier to see these. My mouse targeting sensitivity is 0.402. My mouse scope sensitivity is 0.346. Yeah, it's not really an even number here, but I just dragged them and put it on what it felt was right. So yeah, what I felt was right or whatever. So yeah, invert view off. Obviously this is kind of, this I think everyone has the same or whatever. I'll just scroll through this a bit just so you guys can pause and see if you wanna see exactly. Toggle sprint I have off, sprint by default I have on. I think these are the only two that people care about, right? Obviously I have turbo building and everything on as well, but yeah, that's everything. So yeah, brightness isn't really anything special, but volume settings aren't really that special either, I would guess. Colorblind mode, I don't have colorblind mode on. Then for my bindings, this is the juicy part, okay? So obviously my movement keys are all the same as default and everything, except I don't have a sprint button because my sprint by default is on. My auto run is on P, but yeah, it's just on the other side of my keyboard so I don't accidentally just press it or something like that. The other ones that's special are like my pickaxe or harvesting tool and weapon slot bindings, so The first one I have, or harvesting tool, I have on a mouse button, which is on the front of my mouse. I will be getting a new mouse soon though, the Glorious Model O or whatever. I'll put a picture up on screen right now of that mouse. I'm gonna have my harvesting tool binding on the front mouse, and on the back mouse I will come to that binding later, but I'm gonna use both of those buttons, so yeah. For my weapon slot 1, I have that on X, which is my AR, just easy to get to the AR, you know, and then I just have 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the other weapon slots, because that's what I feel is good for me. I just reach those buttons and they're default, so yeah, whatever. I have shotgun on my 1, on my 2 I have my SMG, on 3 I usually have like a sniper or nade launcher or whatever, mobility items or something, and then on 4 I have heals. My wall is on Q also, that is, or was, the binding by default for toggle build menu or whatever, so I just bound that to the wall, and yeah, that's just what works for me. Floor is on F, stairs is the other mouse button. My roof or pyramid is on tab. My trap is mouse wheel down, so I scroll down to select my traps. Obviously place buildings the same. Repair is on H, that's also a bit out of the way because I don't really use that bind too much, but when I use it, it's often in calm environments or whatever where there's not a lot of action, so I can just move my fingers over there and stuff. Then there's not really a lot of bindings other than those that I have changed. The edit binding, which is down here, is on V. Everything else is on default, so yeah. So those were my settings on Fortnite. Also, if you want to know how to make this crosshair or whatever appear that I have on screen, which I just used because it's easier to swap inventory items and stuff like weapons, assault weapons and stuff, just let me know in the comments. But yeah, make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.